All right, I am super excited today. We are here in COMOR with Andreas and we're checking out the Jones 2020 snowboards.
The Jones 2020 lineup. Can't wait to talk about it! First up in the lineup is the Jones Mind Expander.
This is a kind of old mountain directional FREERIDE board. It's actually part of their surf series. So this was designed by Jeremy Jones with Chris Christensen. Really playful board. It's got a nice flat body to it between the feet, and then it's got a rocket out nose and tail. Huge nose on this thing, just massive nose. Still got a full-size tail. It's got the Jones Magnet Traction, which is called Traction Tech, but basically the same thing, just pretty mild version. And it's got their spooned out nose as well. This is their maximum spoon. There's some serious spoonage. And yeah, the first time I rode a spoon, if you guys have never done so before, you definitely feel it. It has that kind of riding of the ship you're going through. And it just wants to bring you back to center.
Feels like a boat hull, you know? You can imagine a boat hull coming through the waves. It's gonna go through that chop really easily and transition through, you know, all kinds of changes in the water surface. And it's also gonna lean into the turns more fluidly, so you get really good turning initiation and feel.
This one has got a new top sheet as well, so it's got extra durable top sheet, keep all those chips off of it. They also added this year bamboo core into it to make it a little bit stronger, a little bit better for initiating turns. It's going to be great in the trees, it's going to be great in the powder, and just, you're going to feel like you're having a blast the whole time. What do you think? You have one.
Yeah, I really like how it's shaped. I think that it's really neat that the widest point of the shovel is actually a lot farther back. Instead of the shovel sort of continuing on, the widest point is right here, and what that allows for is for the front end of this board to always want to plane out of the snow. If the widest point was much higher, there'd be bigger likelihood that you'd auger in and, you know, somersault or tomahawk over yourself. I've ridden this switch, yes. Well, you know, it takes a little bit more skill set to ride a board that's this directional in switch, but it can definitely be done.
It's not like riding the Storm Chaser switch.
No. It feels very similar if you've ever tried like a K2 Cool Bean or a K2 Party Platter, but way more premium, definitely a little bit of a higher end build. Yeah guys, the other thing I love about this board is the sort of tie-dye top sheet that they're doing here. Yeah, I don't know, does it look like kind of like a tie-dye shirt kind of thing going on?
It totally is a tie-dye shirt.
It splays out.
Maybe I should wear, hold on. Wow. Can you tell any, look, Jones shirt? Can you tell the difference?
So next up is the Ultra Mind Expander. Everything that you love about the regular Mind Expander, but made more aggressive and slightly higher end. Instead of it being a flat cambered profile, we're now moving into a cambered profile. And then they've also added carbon into the core of this guy to make it more powerful, firmer, and therefore more stable at speed. So this version of the Mind Expander will really rail a turn, will really hold a great edge, and it's still going to give you all of the benefits of the shaping that's more surf oriented. So it will still float, still going to be a great board for the trees, but perhaps for somebody who's maybe a little bit heavier or maybe more aggressive, wants to take the board faster. A very similar upgrade from like the Ride War Pig to the new Super Pig.
So this board would be for someone that is just charging hard and likes that camber feel.
Yeah, or like maybe they like the idea of being able to do bank slalom turns, but then still have a board that's versatile enough to take off piste and enjoy in the trees. So the Jones Flagship, this has always been a go-to in their lineup. This is an amazing, fantastic FREERIDE driven board for the guy that, you know, has grown up with powerful camber, stiff shapes, that wants a board that's capable for a little bit of everything. The Flagship will go everywhere and do it confidently. The nice thing about it, you still have that dominant camber profile and shape, and then a big rockered shovel in the front end for flotation, for turning initiation, for going through the chop. Really like the look of the wood veneer top sheet. The grain is very classic looking.
I feel like you got a piece of wood on your feet.
Yeah, it feels natural, you know. Traction Tech 2.0, similar to the Mind Expander, and a very high-end sintered base as well.
Spooned out to the max.
Yeah, it's also utilizing their spoon technology in the shovel. which is again going to work like a boat hull and really help you lean in and initiate your turns for consistent and fluidic carving. Yeah, when you're in the backcountry and you're building a booter, you can just use the spoon tech to, you know.
Yeah. Or you're like, I'm gonna go home and spoon my board. Like the big spoon or the little spoon. This is the first Jones board I ever tried on a powder day at Blackcomb, and I wasn't disappointed. It was really cool. First time trying that spoon tech, and yeah, beautiful board, great fun to ride, powerful for sure, and could handle everything I was throwing at it.
I got to demo a carbon Flagship last year.
I'd be scared to ride that.
Yeah, it's extremely expensive, but it's incredible. It's extremely nimble, it accelerates super fast. The amount of agility that you gain out of the board because it's so light is insane.
So you obviously get a crazy amount of response with the carbon board. If you're riding along and like you sneeze, do you like do like a flip or something?
No.
Okay.
No, I was actually surprised at how damp the carbon board felt.
Yeah.
A lot of the time people think that it's going to feel tingy, but no, it didn't. It felt really responsive and it felt damp as far as
super light.
Yes. Yeah. But you can definitely feel it when you flex it. Firmer category.
It's got some good pop back.
Well, the firmer the board, the more you put into it, the more you're going to get back.
Alright, next up in our catalog of beautiful boards is the Hovercraft. Now this is kind of leaning towards a more powder specific board, but still with a bit of an all mountain feel. So you can still take it to a lot of places on the mountain, but with the shape of it and the design, it is kind of set up for deep powder, whipping that tail around through the trees, through the deep stuff. Slightly like notched out swallowtail in here. It also has a little channel system. It's using their spoon technology. And then on the front, still got a nice spoon on there as well. It's got mild tech traction. You can see
Traction Tech 2.0, Chris.
Traction Tech 1.0.
Traction Tech 1.0. Oh my God! Cut! Chris, when we were in Revelstoke, you got to try the Hovercraft when we went split-boarding.
Yeah.
So what did you think of it?
It was really, really cool board. We didn't have like the greatest powder there, to be fair. Riding on what we had, great board, obviously wasn't doing too much switch. And the thing that really surprised me about it as well was coming out of the powder and then actually riding the runs down when we're all just carving out. I was amazed at the grip and the carve that this board can give.
Yeah, I remember you saying that you didn't even feel like it felt like a split board. You remember being like, yeah, this thing feels like a solid board.
Yeah, which I think says a lot to the Jones split tech as well.
Which we'll talk about later.
I don't want to give away all our Easter eggs.
It's a classic in their lineup. You know, the hoverboard has always been known for being really good at two things: powder riding and carving. So you get a lot of turning initiation out of this board because of the 3.0 spoon tech. You get really good edge control because the board is naturally wider, and it's a still fairly firm board too, so it holds up at speed.
This board is actually the favorite snowboard of Marty McFly as well. Just the words twin and Jones are not two words that you would normally think go together.
They're definitely more of a FREERIDE inspired company. This is one of their boards that have designed to be a little bit more all-rounded. The Mountain Twin is a cam rock snowboard, camber underfoot, rocker tip and tail. The rocker and the tip and the tail make it easy to initiate a turn, and it still gets the board to float fairly easily as well. This is like a great all-rounder board. If you're coming to Whistler, you want one board to handle a little bit of everything. Because it's got more of your traditional shape, easy to ride into switch, easy to land in switch. It is slightly set back, but minutely, so you're not likely to notice the setback. So great for the person who might be doing, you know, side hits, kickers, 180s in the backcountry.
Still wants to do a few laps in the park as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Jumps.
So, you know, you're not limited when you buy this board. You can still take this into the park with all of your park rat friends, and it's going to be more than capable.
And it's going to be better looking than most of them too.
Yeah. All right, Chris, next up we've got the Ultra Mountain Twin.
It's ultra.
Go hard or go home.
This is a 9 out of 10 on the flex scale. It's got carbon going through it. It's got their ultra construction.
She is firm.
Yeah.
It is a stiff board.
And again, it's got the camber underfoot with the rocker tip and tail. It's got their tech traction, and type of person that's gonna want this is someone that just likes to go fast, likes charging, likes just pushing through bumps and skiers and whatever else might be in their way. It's maybe somebody that's gonna be in the black park hitting bigger features, hitting stuff faster.
Yeah, this guy is going to be definitely more demanding than the regular version of the Mountain Twin. Being firmer and more torsionally rigid, it's going to hold up at speed really well, it's going to land massive jumps really well, and it's going to be a great board for like border cross, you know, the person that wants to get those intricate carving lines but demands a firm board. Yeah, this is the kind of board you got to be careful of, because it can kick your ass if you're not careful.
So get squat and
feel for yourself, it's pretty firm.
I'm gonna feel it.
Chris, if it was up to you, would you buy the regular Mountain Twin or would you buy the Ultra Mountain Twin?
I would probably go with the regular Mountain Twin.
I think so too. I kind of feel like the regular Mountain Twin is the board that you could ride all day, versus like this is the board that I'm going to charge on for an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's like
on
competition
Saturday
board.
morning before I have to leave when the hill gets super busy.
Yes.
Yeah. So, shaped by Chris Christensen himself, this is the Jones Storm Chaser. You've got one of these. What do you think, Chris? Tell us about your experience on the Storm Chaser.
It is, it's something else. Yeah, it's a beautifully made board, very unique shape. Standing on it normally, there's no lean back in the powder. You don't have to pressure your back foot at all. It just floats. You feel like you're not even putting in any effort. No tail on it either, or barely a tail, so great for whipping around in trees. I found this thing was so easy, so nimble in the trees. Nice spooned out nose. It also has that double channel system at the bottom on the tail to shoot the snow out. You might be a tiny bit worried about the tail, the swallowtail, because they are kind of pointy. They are maybe a tiny bit fragile, but they are reinforced as well.
Yeah, you can see the metal that comes all the way to the edge there. This is definitely one of the most asked about shapes. People come in and they're like, what is that? How does this work? How does it ride? How does it feel? Being wider, you can really lay in a turn.
It's surprisingly good at carving.
Yeah.
That's one thing that got me. And what about riding switch on this board?
You can ride switch on this board.
It's possible.
I just wouldn't necessarily say that it's any fun. I agree.
It's not designed to go switch. It's definitely designed for one direction, like the ultimate fun, surfy board that excels in trees powder, and I have not regretted one moment buying this board.
Yeah, this is a real treat. Alright guys, so next up is the first in the split boards of our Jones series. This is the Hovercraft Split, and this is a board that Chris actually got to try in Revelstoke last season.
Yes, fantastic board, fantastic ride. I mean, overall, Jones have really revolutionized split boarding and taken it much more to the mainstream than it ever used to be. And you can see why with the board is super high quality. They got a great strength in the board when it's together that you really don't notice much of a change in the ride. And one of the interesting things that Jones does that nobody else does is they actually have the magnet traction in the split. So the split isn't straight down the middle. You probably see there it's got the little wavy lines just to give you extra clips, extra grip when you're riding in split mode.
I talk about the inner magnet traction as sort of like two puzzle pieces integrating together really well. It really helps the board torsionally stay together, very firm. And then in addition to that, with the clips also keep everything nice and bound together. The only time I feel that a split board feels sort of slightly different is when you're trying to take it in the park and you're riding features like boxes, you know, trying to do a board slide with an inner edge can sometimes feel slightly hooky or different than a normal board.
And in terms of where I want to go riding, this board is perfect for that. Again, like the Hovercraft, made for powder with that old mountain feel, so it floats like a feather and just has a really good ride to it. Just a really nice feel when you're riding in powder. Groomers, great for carving. I was riding this carving down on our ride out at the end of the day, and I was blown away by how good at carving it was.
Alright guys, so here we've got the Mind Expander split board version. The fantastic thing about Jones is that in their more recent years, they've taken their cool surf-inspired shapes, like the Storm Chaser, like the Mind Expander, and they've actually offered them in a split board format. This is cool because even though these shapes are less indicative to regular split boarding in a sport version, it's sort of taking the idea of like, well, whatever board you ultimately want to ride and you're going to enjoy the most on the downhill, you know, is the board that you really want to take. So you could imagine having a camber underfoot is going to naturally hike better because you have more grip, right? When you're going up the mountain, you have that sort of
more even pressure across the split.
Yeah, there's a longer effective surface area when you're hiking. Versus a board like this, it's flat and then mainly rockered, so you have less of an effective edge when you're going up the hill. But the Mind Expander in general is made wider, so you do gain some of that surface area back in width.
How, if any, does the torsional strength and flex of a split board compare to like the regular?
A regular, if you were just to look at this portion of the board, it would actually be stiffer, firmer than the normal version. So it is slightly overbuilt, but they know that once it's together, it'll be less torsionally rigid. So it ends up feeling very similar to the normal version of the board, even though the individual sections are firmer.
So last but definitely not least is the Jones Solution split version of the Flagship, and this is the best-selling split board in the world. It's basically mainstream revolutionized split boarding.
It's using the new Ultra Clip by COMOR, which offers you the most interconnectivity of the two pieces of the board. It's utilizing that sort of puzzle-shaped piece, magnetraction on the inside edge, really gripping the thing together well. Top sheet is actually textured in a way that's designed to deter snow and ice buildup.
So you think if you want like a split board designed for split boarding, for touring, for going like longer distance, more extreme, this is what you want to get?
It's going to handle a little bit of everything. It's designed to be versatile. You're going to be able to go out there and pretty much know that no matter what conditions you end up in, this thing will perform.
All right, well, yeah, for me, coming down here and checking out the Jones boards is definitely one of the ones I'm most excited about. Really cool to see.
They're definitely one of my favorite brands, and I feel like the brand is indicative to the riding experience that you'd find here at Whistler. We've brought in a whole bunch of their boards that are going to be great for tackling this terrain and everything that Whistler has to offer.
Yeah, so come on down to COMOR, say hi to Andreas here on Main Street, and he'll be able to sort you out. And even if you just want to come down and chat boards, that's his bread and butter.
Yeah, come and talk, come and ask me questions. I love talking about snowboards.
Try to stump him.
Yeah.
See if you get stumpable.
I am stumpable. I'm just human, but still.
Are you? Well, I love all of these boards. They're all fantastic boards, but it'd be great to hear from you guys about which ones get you excited. Maybe you guys have bought them before and get some feedback in the channel, and just to hear your experience with Jones boards. And yeah, hopefully there's a Jones in your future sometime. All right, well, thanks for watching. Pleasure. Thank you, Andreas. Thank you, Mr. COMOR, for letting us come down.
There's no Mr. COMOR.
Is there not a Mr. COMOR? Mrs. COMOR?
There's nobody named COMOR.
Oh. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.